So I was hoping our attorney would be here by now, but I had a call from our attorney and he says that I can appoint the 3 members of our police commission for the temporary position that we're doing right now. So I talked to 3 people already about it. Ed Hansen's one of them, Linda Rodriguez is another one, and I have Bob Peterson as another one. They've all served on the commission. They have an idea of what's going on with the commission. So that is my appointment for right now. And what I'd like to do is appoint you guys for this go around. The end of the year, I'd like to go out for vote on three, or I don't know how we can do this because this is supposed to happen 1 per year because guys, the commission's got to be on separate years. Yeah. So however this is going to work, I'd like to put it out for vote in December and in January come up with another police commission. But according to the way it's got to work, I'd like to be able to have 1 of you step down, 2 of you stay on, and then the following year after that, we can get another appointment for another police commissioner on, and then go from there the 3rd year.
So just to be clear, when you say vote to vote, that's a vote of the council, not a
Yes.
vote.
Yes.
of the public.
It's not
It's,
correct.
it's not going to the public vote like that, but they can talk to you guys about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we would take letters of interest.
Yeah.
And then, from that.
I just wanted to make sure that was.
You're right.
So, Levi? Yeah. What I was just explaining is, the ones that I wanted to recommend on the police commission, and you said that you talked to me about that I can appoint the 3 right now.
So, yep, you can appoint through it now, it's got to be approved by the council, you have to keep the same qualifications as city council. So, that's by MCA, again, you can appoint them, they have to be approved by the council.
So, I'm making my appointment now, and then I'm asking for the committee to count this, so.
Do we need to vote individually for each person?
Or just overall, that's probably the same.
Just each one?
Yeah. It
Okay.
doesn't really outline exactly how it's done in MCA's, but it's been a long time looking at them, and it's pretty, I guess, vague on that, but it just says they have to meet the same qualifications as you guys did, and you can appoint all 3 of them. I think if you were to appoint more, there are 5 and 7 person commissions, they would get us some other stuff, but I don't think 5 or 7 is necessary, considering the size of our police force.
Our ordinance says 3.
What days are, so the police commission, they meet different times than the city council, so they don't
You're
have to
not
come.
part of the city council.
They don't have to come to it, okay.
And so if I just give a quick thing on police commission. So the police commission, we need to have, we have more than 3 police members. If we had less than 3, it wouldn't be necessary. The police commission has very limited power. It's basically for hiring purposes and then for appeals purposes. So if there were disciplinary measures taken by Troy PD and the officer wanted to appeal it, that's what the commission is for. They have one other purpose, but they don't meet regularly. It's basically at the discretion of the mayor, and we hire somebody to send them over to the commission. So, yes.
Is one of the positions paid by a grant, and if so, what is that grant done?
It's not, they're not paid positions. They can be paid, it's
I mean, the police position.
the police.
One of the police positions, I believe, was paid by a grant. Is
That's-
that,
SRO.
That's not what we're here to discuss though.
okay,
Yes.
so it's off the agenda?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is just about the police commission, I'm sorry.
Well, I thought he implied that there wouldn't be a police commission if there were less officers, so I was wondering if.
Less than 3.
Less.
Less than 3.
So, and that includes reserve officers as well, and I believe we do have some reserve
Oh,
officers.
okay.
So we have a
And-
total of 5? Or
Right now, counting the reserves we have, counting reserves, 3, 4, 5. We only have 2 active reserves right now with this, Ian Smith and, John. Those are only 2 active reserves. So 5 total.
And the last thing on the commission, you can pay them, it's like a very minimal pay.
$10.
$10.
There, $50.
Yeah. So, not much, pays for gas. So,
Good thing we're all within walking distance.
Let's go small, yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna start with an appointment of Linda Rodriguez. I'm gonna ask the council if, I guess do I have to ask for a vote on you guys, or you guys just?
We just vote individually on it.
I make a
As well,
motion.
yeah.
Okay. There's a motion, on a second.
I'll second.
All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you, Linda. And then I'm gonna refer to an appointment for Ed Hansen to be part of the Police Commission of Troy. I'll ask for a motion.
I'll make a motion.
TJ makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Sean seconds. All in favor? Unanimous. And I do have another one. It's Bob Peterson. He is not here right now. He's on vacation. He'll be back next week, but I'd like an appointment for him, so I'm gonna ask for a motion to accept Bob Peterson for the Police Commission. Jamie makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Scott seconds, all in favor? Unanimous. Thank you, guys. And then, I guess we'll be trying to figure out all the information we need to get with them. I do have, I guess, 2 officers that were up, that, applicants, I guess, that came in that, you'll be reviewing right now. Is that fair to say?
Yes, so the police commission, you guys are gonna be the ones who decide what the examination looks like for each officer. Essentially, what you're doing is making sure they meet the minimum qualifications, age, they've been through the academy, some of these very basic things. But ultimately, it's up to you to decide what that examination looks like. You will have to come up with some kind of a certificate to give each person that you say this, you rubber stamp them, say they're good to go, have to have some kind of certificate to show that they came before the commission, you reviewed their application. They do have to be there in person, and it does have to be open to the public. So,
And is that some of the paperwork you brought me earlier today? I thought so.
Certificates and matrix for minimum requirements.
it's also a handbook that I can have printed out for each of you.
Right.
Okay, cool.
Well, thank you for doing that for us, and I'd like to apologize to everybody. We did not know the procedures of the police commission on this, and this
And
is
so
a
you
learning
haven't
experience
had
for
a
all
police
of us.
commission for a while?
Not since I've been here, and I've been here since
And I was,
2000.
You've been here
I've been here a year longer, just a year longer.
You started in 18, I started mid 18, so Sean was a little bit longer.
I got a month on Sean.
Seems like it's a fairly common problem. I know that Libby has dealt with some of the same things. They had a police commission, they disbanded. I know I was probably aware of everything that happened over there in the recent past. So I have been talking to some people at some pretty high levels within the AG's office stuff. It is an issue, but actually Jamie brought it to my attention because I didn't even know either. So I apologize for that as well, but it's just something that we want to get squared away, make sure we're above board. It is required by state law, so.
We did have one for a couple of years. The only person I can remember that was on it was Kelly Palmer. It was Kelly Palmer in 2003. Alan put it together when he first came on as chief, and I'm not sure when they stopped meeting, when it disbanded, but I know for a fact, the only one I know for a fact that was on it was Kelly Palmer. I could reach out and ask him who the other people were on.
Mr. Hanson was one of them.
You open.
And Ron Rebo.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. How long were you guys a commission for? Do you remember?
5 months.
5 months? Okay.
But, it serves a purpose.
yeah.
And then at the end of 5 months, we didn't have anything to do, so.
Sure.
We should have just kept going though.
It's every 3 years, so that's how long the terms are for each commissioner. MCA say that they should be reappointed the first meeting of the year. So obviously, we're a little late in doing that. But so it'll be 2 years and 4 months, we'll just say, and then we should do it again.
Okay, I did explain to these guys, if they would like, as long as we could have 2 of them stick on, one of them drop out after the first year, we'll get another one nominated again, voted in by the council, and then the next year do the same thing, and the next year do the same thing. Just
However you guys want to do it.
as long as it's legal, that's the.
That's the every 3 years.
Okay.
Since they, well, here's my take on that, not to drag this out, but since they're all being appointed at the same time, to me, it would make sense just to reappoint them all at the same time. And that way we know for sure we have three.
Our ordinance says different. When we started the police commission, it said that they would be appointed for a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. So there would always be two on there that knew what they were doing. So it would bring one new one on each year.
And that's Troy.
That's the Troy ordinance, yeah.
So the issue I'm seeing with that is that state law says otherwise. So
Well,
we can look into that. Really.
yeah,
We have it right now. We can kind of figure out finer details. As long as we have three people right now, I'll look into that. I know that doesn't the handbook say 3 years? Yeah. So we can look into that. If there's ordinance conflicting with what the state law says, I'll have to look into that and see which is going to take precedence.
I'll give you this, but it's just 5-155. Right there, Bob.
So yeah, I'll look into this a little bit further.
You can keep that if you want.
I don't want.
Okay, so if we go down, let's move on to old business. There's none, and then we'll go to public comments on matters not on the agenda.
I have some things to say. I entered them this morning when you called me a little bit. I am currently having some issues with my neighbor next door, which I kind of felt like fit into this meeting. I guess I didn't really understand. I thought like all the commissioners would be here and that they would have a chance to.
Commissioners, you're thinking county commissioners
The
or
police
just police?
commissioner
Okay,
that you were appointing tonight. I thought they would all be here so that I could talk to them.
okay, yeah. Bob is on vacation, so.
So, I have 6 years of ongoing stuff with my neighbors next door. I'm a frequent flyer. I call dispatch all the time. I very rarely hear back about my things. In fact, this last week, I called in a domestic violence situation. The police officer responded, didn't even talk to the neighbors, then left. The next day, the girlfriend of one of them allowed her dog to attack my cat in my yard. Same officer responded, talked to me, left, didn't go talk to the neighbors. So I guess my questions are, what is the accountability with city police? Who decides? Like I looked up Montana code and I can't find a set, this is what happens when you file a complaint, this is what should be done, this. I spent days on it, I can't find anything. So is there when you hire on, is there a protocol that's set in place when they accept their position?
Yeah, they're supposed to uphold all ordinances and resolutions and laws.
Okay, because I did find the standards of conduct for officers, and that seems to cover a little bit of that. I also did look up the code of ethics, which also covers a little bit of that, and that is taught in the academy. And I know that you are working on said list that I sent 10 pages in of.
Yeah.
I apologize.
No, that's okay. I did send that out, have that sent out to the council, so all the council is aware of everything that you had in your case.
And then I thought this was always public record, but then one of the police officers who came to my house told me that I need to speak to the city attorney, and there is no contact information to reach you. So if that is part of the policy, why isn't that information put out there for everybody so that they know that?
Probably needs to update on the website,
Check
to
it
be
out.
honest. No, he just started a couple months ago.
Okay.
Levi has.
Honestly, if he would've walked by me on the street, I wouldn't have known
Yeah. Doesn't look like the attorneys I worked for.
You should be great
that.
about it.
That's racist.
Profile.
No offense, I mean that in a good way, but.
Well, I know Levi's bringing this into the 2024 year, and then could bring us up into the future of what we've done.
That was brought to my attention very recently. was in a huge trial, so I'm catching up on some stuff. Gonna have to look into that as well. I don't think that it should be on the city attorney to turn over all of that stuff. I
I
don't
don't
have
either. I
access
think it should
to
be
it,
public
all of it either. The only way I'd be able to get access to years past would be to get a hold of Cliff, and I don't think that he has it. What he turned over to me when I took over was pretty minimal and really just had cases that were current or very recent. I do not have reports from anything before probably, this is being generous, like October of last year.
So the responding officers should have reports though, correct?
I don't know how Katie managed that. Travis might be able to
So
speak to that.
what we were always told from Katie was that if the public comes to us and wants a copy of a report, we don't just go up there and copy off reports and hand them out, that they have to go through the city attorney to get that. Now, I don't know, with our stuff being tied to the sheriff's department, if they go through their records, I have no idea, but Katie always told us that no, they have to go through the city attorney to get copies, or to get that.
The reason for that would be because sometimes investigations are still open. And when an investigation is still open, we can't just turn over discovery to anybody until we get that
Right.
squared away.
Even just copies of the written complaint that I submitted or a vague thing just for documentation purposes. I mean, to me, it's all about even the little things. You can be called to a scene about something little and find something big. The domestic that I called in last week, one of the people was on probation. Missed opportunity.
Sure.
So our reports come from CJIA, the Criminal Justice Information Network. We cannot give that to the general public. A lawyer cannot get that from us. It has to be subpoenaed. So if we print off our report and we hand it to somebody, we just committed a CJIA violation and we can lose our clearance. So that is not that we don't want to give reports, it's that legally by because it's coming off of a secure law enforcement terminal, we just cannot do that, so therefore it has to be subpoenaed. That's how our discovery is done. We don't give reports to the defense attorneys, that all goes to our attorney, it's subpoenaed, we package it, put it together, that report's turned over. So if we gave anything further than the face sheet, we can give that to anybody, that's just time of call, persons involved, case number, things like that.
See, I would have even taken
Yeah,
that.
we can give you a face sheet all day. Actually, dispatch should be giving you those.
I think that goes through dispatch.
Yeah, you go to dispatch, they
So
should.
Libby Dispatch will have all the choice
Absolutely.
previous ones.
So that's public record, but anything further into that has to be subpoenaed because it's part of the criminal justice.
And I get that.
Yeah.
I just didn't understand.
It's
why
not
I
that
had have a
we're trying to
record
play cloak and
what I
dagger, it's
call.
literally, if we gave that to you, we lose our clearance and we get fired.
And
Yeah.
I did have to do a CJIA clearance and use a CJIA number. Actually, my CJIA number is through the county, to be able to get stuff from them as well.
pertaining to this or other stuff.
Just any kind of reports, anything like that, like I have to have a number, have to go through
You
the
can't
clearance
even
process. Yeah, so,
I don't want it.
well, and I don't know, so because we turned over dispatch to the county a while back, I'm not really sure what would happen to those records, what he's talking about, kind of the face, like, it's just a log, right, dispatch log.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to the records after it was turned over to the county. The county should have,
Well, then we wouldn't also, we had the SWIFT system, and then we just switched over to Flex, which we're connected with the county on that now. So some of those old records in SWIFT, I don't even know how to get a hold of them.
I don't.
One of the
I
ones
don't
that I
think
need
it's-
from you is on the old one.
Yeah, I have no idea how we even access.
I
it
don't
now.
even think SWIFT is supported to go in and get old reports, if I'm being honest with you. It was shut down when we switched because the person who was running it was a convicted felon. And they found out, so we shut it down. That's why we went into,
Well, it wasn't supported
We
by
should
CJIA
have-
anymore. It's
yeah, and
updated.
so CJIA therefore stopped supporting it, and that's why we had that panic mode to get into a new system. We ultimately got into Flex. So honestly, records going for Swift. YOLO.
When did that switch happen?
Oh,
It's 20, it's
2019.
been 2 years. It's been 2 years.
Yeah, so 21, 22, I want to say, somewhere right there. Yeah. Brian Dotson was still under sheriff at the time, if that helps out a little bit.
He was just leaving.
Yeah. So that's, and so that's what it is with those
Archived.
records. I don't even think we could get into the.
No.
They should have been archived.
Yeah, it's still records that should have been maintained.
Yeah.
And then what is the cutoff for civil disputes becoming criminal as far as property goes?
Value,
Okay,
is that what you're thinking is value?
I don't know, because I've called in complaint after complaint after
What are
complaint
we,
about
what are we
destruction
talking about, like
of my
destruction?
fence.
Okay, so the fence would be civil. The fence would 100% be
Even
civil.
when it's vandalism,
Yeah, is it defined vandalism, because it's a fine line with the,
getting
Wait.
high and breaking down the corner of my fence.
it's still civil, yeah, it's still.
Yeah,
Where does that line end?
Yes,
so,
how many
Because
times?
I've heard that about other things
yeah,
here
there's,
around town.
if it's fence disputes, if it's things involving, even trespass could potentially be civil. I mean, there is a fine line. I mean, if somebody is coming onto your property, like if they're breaking through the fence and coming onto your property and you've told them to leave, then maybe that crosses the line into.
That has happened,
into
Breaking into your
and my stuff's been
house.
destroyed, one of them came into my house.
Oh, my God.
So without knowing the details, without having you share them, it's hard to say.
It's been ongoing for years, but it's been thousands of dollars. I mean, I've dropped 8,000 into the fence already.
Into the fence?
Yeah.
The incident she's talking about was given to Cliff.
Okay.
He was charged.
And they have been trespassed from my property before, so the incident that happened last week, I didn't understand why she wasn't arrested.
Did you physically trespass?
I don't know
You
that this is something
trespassed
to take,
Junior.
I don't think this is something that we should talk about in a
Oh,
open
group
meeting.
setting.
Yeah, I think it'd be better if you want to meet with me, if you want to meet with some of the officers, happy to do that. Don't think we should continue to talk about potential criminal cases in front of everybody. That's just my opinion, and I think it'd probably be best for you as well.
I think that's the interest of all of us.
So to answer your question, Sean, it's civil and criminal. It's a very fine line that we have to learn to teeter over. Some things are, we can use some gray area when it comes to like neighbor disputes and things like that. That's 100% civil. And we cannot get involved in that because then we're violating people's rights because we are not supposed to enforce civil law. So
Shouldn't the reporter be told that though? When a
it,
person calls in a report, should the officer at least say,
So somebody's trespassing on your property, that's a civil matter.
No,
Or
it can
driving
be,
the
yeah,
cab.
it just.
If someone's trespassing, you want them to leave, you call dispatch, an officer's gonna say, that's civil, I'm not gonna respond. They
however, if
won't
I
leave.
hit that person.
We're gonna
I'm
respond
gonna-
to tell the person to leave, but we're not gonna charge them.
Even if I want them to trespass.
Even if you have to trespass first, you cannot trespass. And that came down,
When somebody comes on your property,
so
damages something, that's not vandalism. that's-
before the change from Montana Supreme Court, we used to carry criminal trespass warrants. If you wanted somebody, let's say you wanted to leave by trespass, we'd show up, could we arrest him that day for criminal trespass? No. We fill it out, we are with, on body camera, fill it out, have you sign it, then I would serve leave by and say, okay, you are now criminally trespassed from TJ Boswell's property. If you come back, you are gonna be cited or arrested for criminal trespass. Montana Supreme Court, this is where the civil criminal thing comes into play. Determine that by us doing that, we are acting as agents for that person civilly. And Montana Supreme Court told law enforcement, stand down, you cannot do that. So now you would have to record, send a text message, email, something with proof or video yourself saying, Levi, you are trespassed from my property, you can't come back. And then when you show me that, I'm like, okay, but I can no longer act for you. Montana Supreme Court designated that as me acting as your agent. It's not that I don't want to. All day, every day, I'll kick someone off your property. I have no problem cutting a ticket, bringing someone to jail for trespass. Been there, done that.
But there's like 27 times that I can think of that I've reported stuff like that, and no officer has ever told me that. So why?
I don't know.
There was a
Yeah.
while there where we were trying to figure it out because they switched that up.
It was.
And we were kind of confused about, it, and the sheriff's department was confused about it. you
It
know?
was a big thing for a while where we didn't know, we weren't even sure. Our city attorney at the time wasn't even sure, county attorney wasn't even sure what we were to do, how we were gonna operate with that, because it was so, like someone tossed a hand grenade and it went off. We had to figure it out, which we have now, and ultimately it's come down to, we can't enforce criminal trespass unless it's already been documented by the property owner. And if we show up and we are shown clear documented proof that there was a criminal trespass, we'll cut that ticket. I'll tell you right now, we won't be able to take someone to jail for it. The county jail is gonna take someone on a trespass.
It is a misdemeanor. Is anybody else having this problem? Like, is anybody, and I'm not singling you out, but I wanna know.
I'm the only neighbor essentially, because there isn't one on the other side.
So what I can do is look into that specific issue, right? Sounds like there was some recent Supreme Court precedent handed down. I can look exactly what that is, exactly what it means, exactly what steps you need to take, and then what can be done. A lot of times, like these guys will come to a situation, we had one recently where there are nuances. You know, somebody shows up, landlord tenant rights, and they go, I don't really know. You know, they definitely don't teach you all that at the academy.
No,
So then I get a phone call and I have to go, okay, I'm gonna look at this. And so there's nuances, and I think with this, there's definitely nuances to the whole trespass thing. If there were a repeat offender, say they got one ticket, it's a misdemeanor. They're gonna get a ticket and have to show up to court. If it continues to happen, I think that obviously the consequences would be more severe. But I can definitely look into that. If you want to meet with me and the officers, happy to do that. I'm down here pretty much all day, every Wednesday for the most part. So
To be honest, things are gonna change with the help of this man. We were hard pressed, not at the fault of the city by any means. It was hard to find a city attorney, anybody that wanted to take a job in such a rural, remote area. It was hard. So we were stuck for a very long time with the city attorney, who I lovingly nicknamed Flea Barton Cliff. Just dropped, a lot of things were dropped, things like that. We would call, and instead of getting an explanation or, hey, let's try this or that, he nope, civil, tell him it's civil. I'm like, well, why? Just tell him it's civil. We got that ourselves for quite a few years, not using it as an excuse, just it's the truth. So that is ultimately why Chuck and the council decided, let's get rid of that guy. Let's bring in Levi. And so things moving forward, now that we have a very competent city attorney, a lot of things like that are gonna be different. We're gonna have more help, not just us trying to pull a rabbit out of a hat with no help legally. Because then that's where it gets dangerous for us, because if we start then going into things we're not fully clear, then we can get ourselves in trouble for violation of rights.
or get a lawsuit against the
Yeah.
city. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So things have already started to get different with Levi coming on board, so.
There's a lot different with Levi and Board.
Yeah.
He's contacted me, helping me with information on this, got me information. That's helped out with that.
I live here,
Lots of good things.
I got skin in the game.
Yeah.
It sounds like you got legitimate plans. I'm happy to help you work it out. Nobody wants to deal with that, so I get it. There's some things I'm not gonna have answers for. There's like records and some of that stuff. Like again, I'm not throwing anybody under the bus, but what I got was from the former city attorney was slim at best. I'm still sorting through a lot of stuff, creating new documents, gonna be doing some trainings with the officers, but there's always gonna be stuff like this that's gonna come up. And that just comes with experience, and the law's always changing as well, so.
I think something that needs to go along with that, with you communicating with Courtney and hopefully with the officers, is better communication with the people who call in, because that is an ongoing issue
Like
that
follow
we've
up. We
heard
heard a lot.
from a
Is it
lot.
off, and he just goes away, and you're like, oh, great, wasting my time, I shouldn't even call.
Well,
And that is something that we,
I don't even call anymore.
Yeah, and I've heard that from a lot of people, and then they feel unsafe, and then they're gonna take action on their own, and that's,
and
potentially.
that is probably something we do need to get better at, especially with our change in dispatch. Back when we had our dispatch, we had the luxury of having our dispatch, and they would follow up, they would let folks know, they would call. But that, not having them in-house now, that's 100% right. I apologize. You are correct. That's something that we should collectively get better on as officers, and moving forward, it just filling the gaps of where we used to have a dispatch, whereas now we're dispatching 18 miles away, so. That's something we should get better at, and we will, so. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And if, just last thing, I've got questions. I will say, that the officers here in Troy have shown me, every inclination that they want to improve, that they want to serve the community. We're gonna not make excuses moving forward. There's a lot of excuses that can be made. There's a lot of people that we could point fingers at. I think what's important now is moving forward. These guys have all shown me that they want to do that. Before I even came on board, they got a hold of me and said, hey, we want to do some trainings. We want to get better. So I hope that gives everybody peace of mind. I wouldn't stand up here and lie about that. So again, I have a part to play as well. So moving forward, our goal is to get everything into a place where it should be to represent the city of Troy. This is a great place, and I want city attorney and our PD to reflect that. So,
And then moving forward, there will be contact information for you on the website, since people are supposed to reach out to you.
Yeah, I don't have control of the website, but yeah, I think it'd be a good idea to get my contact information.
So they're like, yeah, you need to get a hold of
Get a hold of
Levi,
attorney.
he ain't
Figure it
telling you how to do that. And somebody sent me an email and it didn't work either. I was like, who is this Levi? Is he actually a person?
He does exist, he's right. He's-
Next time.
Sure, do you have access to do that, to our website? Thank you.
And written complaint forms, where are those?
We should still have
Sure.
our in the body. There
I
should
found
be
some.
Okay.
We have some old ones, and we're gonna try to redo them and have them available, but we don't know what to do with them after we get them, so.
Well, yeah, well, I thought,
Process.
what used to happen is our dispatch, we would have not, you guys would fill them out, and then hand them back into our dispatch, and then we put them in a box and we take care of them. So then when you stopped in and asked for me before, I couldn't find any, I thought, where did they all go? And then I found some, and Sharon and I were looking at revamping them, and then I called the dispatch over in Libby and said, do you guys want us to send you copies of these? Right? I don't know what he wants to do with them. So I said, okay. So I think we were thinking about just maybe turn them into City Hall and then give them to us, and then we'll.
People that are maybe we can come up with like a secure box.
Yeah.
Right there in the lobby, put a padlock on it.
We have a box, but it needs to be bolted down though.
Yeah.
There's that one upstairs.
We'll reach out to Ward, see if maybe he can get that bolted down, and then, right, and then first you can come fill it out. And, day shift officer, whoever it is, will come in that first thing in the morning and open up the box and see if we have any complaint forms in there.
That would work perfect.
Yeah.
That would help out a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a little less pissed off.
Are the complaint forms then something the commission would have access to?
No.
That's just internal?
Yep.
In the department?
Yep.
Nothing else?
See, now, also, there was a variance granted with all of this previous history, and nobody seems to have known about that. So when you apply for a variance, why isn't all of that stuff pulled before it's granted or denied?
I'm not sure about, I don't really understand.
Are you asking with all the history?
Yeah,
But
so the
that
neighbor next door was
residence
granted a 90-day variance to park his camper up against the fence in question, but he had just recently broken into my house.
And none of us knew about that.
Well, we
wouldn't have
couldn't,
that
we
No,
couldn't
we're not-
request,
We don't.
we couldn't request police records on that kind of thing.
And it's not in our policy to, as that as a.
So you'll have to pull history on the person in order to grant the variance.
Not for a variance for the trailer.
So,
Kind of got a one-off there, Courtney, to be honest with you. Not exactly a one-off, because we know what goes on in our community, but it's a unique,
I'm pretty impressed with my patients, actually. I'm proud of myself. I'm probably gonna have a Miller Lite later, just like. Adderall.
we've learned a lot in the last few months because of situations like that we've never had to deal with.
We're learning a lot.
We're all in a learning curve.
Yep, we all are.
Some of us are just on the other end of it.
Well, thanks for helping teach us.
It's my pleasure.
Like Chuck said, there needs to be a lot of changes made to bring us into a more modern era of policing. Definitely, there's like Levi mentioned law changes, there's laws that change every single year. There's, for instance, right now, unless they changed it, first time offense for theft, unless it meets that felony, we can't take anybody to jail.
Right, I'd heard about
So
that.
there's a lot of things that change on us. It's a continuing curve. And like we said, moving forward, having somebody that's going to actually let us know about these changes and not, oh, surprise, and it's a good thing. We're moving in a good direction.
just like disorderly conduct, you used to be able to arrest for first offense disorderly conduct. Then they changed it to where they've had a
Yeah.
disorderly conduct before, and then you could arrest on the second one. So then I went to go deal with someone not too long ago thinking, oh, they haven't had a disorderly conduct before, so I can't arrest them. And the sheriff's department goes, oh, no, they gave that back to us, we can do that.
Yeah,
And I was like,
they gave that back this year. As a matter of fact, January 1 of this year, they gave that back to us. Yeah, so a lot of evolution as far as laws, changes in this business. And like I said, I'm happy, I'm confident knowing that we have somebody that's gonna help us moving forward with these curveballs, learning it. We plan on, like Levi said, a lot of trainings. Like he's here, he's local, he's not, 2.5, 3 hours away from us. When you call, he answers, vice versa. So there's just, it's the evolution and moving forward, it's going to be a lot.
And Levi, have you met Maggie Anderson?
No.
She's very helpful in training and grants and all kinds of stuff. She's definitely a woman you wanna know.
I do have some experience in grants. The plan was to do a training June 26th. Finding out that Katie was leaving, it didn't really make sense to me to do a training without, we're gonna have a new chief coming in. Obviously would want them to be a part of the training as well. Ultimately, he's gonna run the department. I can do the trainings, but, policies and things like that, that's out of my wheelhouse. Sounds like we're gonna hopefully be getting a decision on the chief soon. And that was one of the things that was talked about, and what we talked about with the chief is like, one of the important things that I wanted to know was with applicants is like, okay, what are some of your ideas with some training with a limited budget, limited resources? There's a lot of really good ideas thrown around, grants being one of them. There's a lot of free trainings, things like that, but it's necessary because there are changes made often. I do get sent like any major cases from the Supreme Court once a month. They'll send out something. If I think it's relevant, I'll be talking to these guys about it.
So I just have a question. Like for this lady, it sounds like she has trouble with the laws that became more common of trespassing and going from criminal to civil. So, I know an old couple that lives, and I suppose everybody does, lives next to somebody whose place is atrocious and there's stuff on their property line, and it's just wicked. Bad for their property value and the town's property value.
Is it in city limits?
Yeah, and so this town starts at the state level, and then we things in this town, or can't be anything done because it's at a state level, or can, because I think that's the one who has to deal with somebody that's difficult to deal with,
Sure. So as far as the like unsightly crap, right? I rewrote the ordinance for the county when I worked there. But it's a really difficult, that itself is a very difficult thing because there are all kinds of constitutional considerations when it comes to that. It's actually something that Chuck and I have talked about with Troy's ordinance for that. Can we take a look at
Is this
that?
the nuisance vehicle one that we're talking about?
Similar, it's like just, garbage and, yeah, a lot of, I think there was a couple, not to point anybody out, but there was a few in particular that were of concern. And it was kind of the same thing in the county. As far as the trespassing thing goes, I'm gonna look into that. I do think, but I wanna make sure so these guys are sure as well. But yeah, I mean, stuff that happens at the state level, we have to abide by it.
Right.
It's just like stuff happened in court. They're trying to do away with fines completely and implement other means of, I guess, punishment. One of the recommendations out of many was make them read a book and do a report.
No, 100% is right. And
How do you enforce that?
In accordance with what he's saying,
I do not like reading anything.
a business or a major corporation, like, so for instance, if somebody threw a brick through the window of Watson's and they're juvenile, Watson's is not, will not be given compensation
Right.
by that person, because ultimately the state of Montana has determined, you can afford to replace it.
Yes, because we're all corporations. There's no such thing as
So-
small business.
So,
owner.
and even if somebody did it at Park City, if somebody did it at Booz and Bait, and frustrations we share.
Yes.
And we don't make the laws, we just have to enforce what's given to us.
And they do it around town.
Mhm. So, yeah,
I've gone around with youth court on.
we had it in, they're not gonna pay restitution.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a juvenile and, well, that business can afford to replace those things. Yeah, that's the direction we're moving, folks, so, I mean, no consequences.
So we're going back to forcing people to take matters into their own hands.
No, because then you'll end up going to jail for assault, and that one we will teach.
No, you have to read a book.
Yeah, exactly. You have to read a book.
You don't write reading book.
How not to assault someone for talking about this.
Yeah, that's the way it's going.
That's the direction, it's surprisingly, it's Montana, this is Montana, you would think.
It's very California.
It's nothing like when we were
It's-
kids and we were talking
It's
about.
starting to go, in Idaho, it's starting to creep into Idaho now as well, it's fully taken over Oregon. I mean, so it's starting to creep within our laws in Montana.
That makes absolute sense. Don't hold them accountable when they're kids, because then they don't have to be accountable as adults in the state either.
Because
So
we're not gonna.
why hold children accountable if their parents
We're not
are?
gonna
When
be
I was-
arresting them when they're
When I worked
21.
in jail, my captain said this place is full of guys that never were told
Family
no as a kid.
reunions. Family reunions in the jail.
Never told no as a kid.
And if you feel like something's not getting done, folks, just go to Travis, go to myself, come to us, talk to us. If we don't know what's going on, if it's bothering somebody, we can't give it a little bit more attention, we can't put more into it. If we don't know how someone's feeling, or we don't know certain things are going on. In your case, not saying that in your case, Courtney, but we need people to come and talk to us and tell us what they're seeing, tell us what they're hearing. So we can have that extra bit of information, and we don't necessarily have to put folks on the record for certain things, but if we don't know someone's having a hard time, if you feel like you're not getting through with dispatch, come to us. Come talk to me, Chuck. We will get crap done for you. But we can't fix it if we don't know it's broken. So we can't go that
It's broken.
extra, we can't go that extra step. Like Levi said, we'll sit down together after he crunches some things, and we'll get stuff figured out. And if he gives us a green light, well then, 1, 2, 3, go.
And that's what I was talking about with you, Courtney, is write it down, bring it in, and that way it's there. We have it. I have it, I can talk to these guys about it. And then if you turn it in dispatch gets a hold of them and lets them know there's a report and a case number.
And they should be, and if they get things, they should be faxing it, they should be letting us know
They should be.
absolutely 100%.
Yeah.
And if that's something that's not getting done, then we reach out to Darren.
Yep.
Or Brent Faulkner, or maybe John Davis, their captain, and have a conversation like, hey, our Troy folks feel like things aren't getting pushed through to officers properly, and we have that conversation, and I know they'll make sure it gets done.
Yeah, we can have a sit down with Darren anytime you guys can. That's
Absolutely.
definitely a thing that happen to take care of
We'll get it,
problems.
we'll get it figured out. Trav, and I will give a time works for you, because you get a busy schedule too, and we'll reach out to him and see, maybe sit down and say, hey, this is how Troy folks are feeling, not everything is getting pushed through from the dispatch level to Troy officers.
What about someone going into Courtney's house without her?
That's-
So
consent?
that person was charged.
Can't talk
What
about
came of
Yeah,
that?
we don't need to, I don't need details,
I
I'm
don't
just
know.
curious.
Yeah, that person was charged.
I might be able to get some insight on that. I don't know who it is yet, obviously, not, okay, yeah.
I'm not worried about who it is, I just,
Yeah, I was.
just to clarify the trespassing, it's just like,
It's
it's
just
only
put it
civil if
back.
it's in your yard, or in your garage, or in your house, or,
Because
I
we're
definitely-
shooting somebody.
Hey, I don't touch guns, but my kids do, and they weren't home. He's real lucky they weren't home.
No duty to retreat, Montana, just so you know.
I know, dude, I'm 6 foot tall, 225 pounds, I don't walk my door, because I stand up and people are like, hey, they're back. And I get a listen. Let's
Okay.
go.
Everybody good with that?
Absolutely.
Okay, you good?
I'm good. I feel much better than before I got here.
Awesome, I'm glad. That way you're not coming out of there fighting.
I've been coordinating.
Thank you. I guess I'll ask for any more comments not on the agenda. Not on the agenda. If they have anything,
Matters on the agenda, how many applicants are there? Are you allowed to say?
that's not on the agenda right now.
Skip it. Oh, I forgot to write my questions down. Okay.
Applicants.
Okay.
There's process that went on for the interviews and they were coming out.
Okay.
And who did the interviews?
Hmm?
Did you do interviews with them?
I did.
There was
I
only
did.
2 that applied?
No, there.
No, we had more apply.
Oh, okay.
But when it come down to it, we had interviews for 4 that we allowed to interview, and 2 out of them, 2 of them were possible candidates. Yeah. Did you want to know the people that were doing the interviews is what you're?
No, I was just,
Okay. So if there's nothing more that anybody wants to talk about, I'm gonna adjourn this meeting.
Okay.
Motion, second? Oh, we don't need a motion on that one. Just adjourn. Second, all in favor?
Jim, you're gone.
Someone just contact us.
Yeah, we'll get everything put together. This is all. It's due to the clerk.